All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar, and we talk about retail leadership, right? And not in your big box retail. We're talking about small, mom pop, small, medium sized business, right? We're talking about more of a niche area. So you're talking about your wireless retail, you're talking about your AV, your appliances, your furniture, things that are outside your big box retail and where we actually have more of salesmanship, where we actually need to train and develop our people because it's not okay just people randomly walking in. They're coming in looking for advice, looking for assistance, looking for an advisor or consultant to be able to help them make the right decisions for what they're getting. And oftentimes we feel that we have high churn rate. We feel we can't find people to work. People are constantly churning over at our locations. And I'm here to tell you that it's not the people, it's the lack of a system. We've talked about this. It's been a constant thing. And there's things that you can do that can help you. And I'm not talking about making big, drastic changes. I'm talking about things that actually matter, where we can actually make a difference. I'm a big proponent of doing small coaching sessions. The 15-minute coaching framework was one of my key cornerstone frameworks that I use, and I use it from personal experience. This is something that I used with myself personally to develop myself as a seller. When I didn't have that person that could mentor me, that could guide me, I needed to find a way. And I did that through looking through other mentors, right? I found a bunch of people online. I found coaching programs, mentorship programs, mastermind classes that I joined to try to kind of get me somewhere where I can move forward because I wasn't getting that from my organization. I wasn't getting that from the people I was involved with, the companies I was working with. And that's how I kind of moved myself forward. And a lot of times you guys don't have those resources, or you don't feel that you have that available, or you don't even know that they exist. A lot of your managers are essentially, right? I'm talking to you. You're an area manager, you're a district manager, you're a regional, you're at a director level or exec position, leading multiple locations. And the people that you're putting to lead those locations are typically, hey, you're the best salesperson I got. Hopefully, you can, if I put you in this leadership role, then it's going to make everything great. And listen, from years of experience, from years of data, I can tell you that is not the case. Oftentimes, when you put in your top salesperson as a leader, it creates more friction, it creates higher churn, it creates bigger issues at the locations and the areas than you can think of. They're terrible at training and developing people because they don't want to. They're focused only on themselves. And you wonder why you can't retain people. You wonder why, when that person's not there, the location goes to trash. They can't get numbers up. They can't continue to grow, to thrive. And then that person feels great because they're coming in to save the day. But the rest of the team fucking hates it. And there's a reason why. They're not being developed. They're not being trained, guided, mentored. Oftentimes that person's talking down to them because they don't know what to do. And they, in their head, they're like, well, this is how I do it. Why can't you just pick it up by watching me? And that's not how a lot of people go, right? That's not how things work. In the real world, you need to train, develop people. I oftentimes go back to talking about, right, the farmer and actually planting their crops. The farmer doesn't just go out there, throw the seeds and say, fucking grow, right? And come back, in a few weeks, few months, like, why haven't you guys done anything? You haven't done anything. No, you need to put in the work up front. Once you put in the work, you're going to see that it doesn't take a lot of effort to really get that fruit from the labor, okay? And oftentimes you guys think that, okay, I got to put on this big elaborate training session, I got to do an 8-hour course here, I got to do this here, I need to pull them out. No. One, you need to train your local leaders, your store managers, to be able to do small little coachings, okay, with their people. Yes, you need to develop them, but guess what, once they're at the locations, once they're actually selling, they're going to get constant practice, people coming in. Now, I believe that is the worst kind of practice you can give them. But I get it. Some of you guys are going to say that's the only thing I can do because I got just one-on-one coverage. So that person's going to be by themselves for a few hours. Okay. The beautiful thing about doing small, like very small coaching sessions, it doesn't take a lot of time. So in between those lows, because you guys know just like I do, we're going to go 30 minutes, sometimes an hour without seeing somebody walking through a location. It happens. That is what we are accustomed to. And then, we're either boom or bust. Okay. We either have a bunch of people in the location typically, or we got like nobody and it's like tumbleweeds are going by. I get that. But when you're doing small little coaching sessions, it gives the people an ability to actually step up. It gives them an ability to actually walk through and talk through what they're going to do. And you guys don't understand that when they talk through things, when they write things down, they have to actually visualize it. That visualization practice forces them to live it. If you guys haven't heard, or if you guys are, for instance, like D&D players, right, or you do any kind of role-playing game, stuff like that, those are essentially lived through experiences, and it makes it easier because you're visualizing it. You can see it, and you can run that through a lot faster than, like, say, let's go through a role-playing session. I'm going to be that once in a lifetime customer that is a headache to work with. First, that's a bad experience. That is a bad role play session because you're training them for something that they're not going to run into. You need to focus on the sessions, on those customer interactions that they're going to see the most, right? In furniture, if they're coming in because they just moved into a new location, what does that interaction look like? What do those customers come in? What are those talking points? What are they needing to focus on, right? In AV, somebody's looking at building out their first home theater system. All right. What does that look like? Have they just moved in? Have they been there for a while? Are they converting an existing room to it, or was this room built out with this in mind? You need to know what those talking points are so that you can train and focus your people on those. And that's when they're going to start seeing that constant repetition. Okay, this is easy. I can see this. This is where I go to. This is what I need to work on. And then they're going to develop their style as they go. But you got to give them a solid foundation. You can't just throw them in and be like, okay, great, you got some kind of sales experience, you'll figure it out. Sales experience is great, but you still got to give them some kind of foundation so that they actually have a launch pad, so that they have a shorter run period, right? A shorter period where they're, for you as an organization, are going to become profitable, and for them as sellers are going to become fucking profitable because they're actually making commission. That is what you're looking at. And focusing on small coaching sessions, even 15-minute coaching sessions that are targeted, are direct at what they're actually trying to get to. It makes a huge difference, okay? That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to be able to do. And you don't need to spend elaborate time doing this. You don't need to spend an hour, 3, 5, 8 hours going over this information. You don't need to be the one talking about this the most. You need them to be the ones talking. You need to be kind of focusing the conversation, right? Ask questions. But your employee, the seller themselves, needs to be the one that's actually doing most of the talking. They need to be the ones that take ownership of what they're going to focus on what action items they're going to be doing, right? What steps am I going to take to make this happen? What am I going to be focusing on? And that's where you, as a leader, start to really see your people develop, because now they're taking ownership. Now they're the ones deciding, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to focus on, and this is what I'm going to try to do. And then when you go back in a couple of days and, all right, let's touch base. Let's see exactly where we're at. Let's see what we're trying to get to. How close are we to it? What are we needing to work on? Now they can take ownership and say, okay, well, I've tried this. It's been working. So, I'm just doing more of it. Or I've been trying this approach. It hasn't been working. Okay. So what have you noticed about it that hasn't been working? What has been working for you? And let them be the ones to come out and say it, because now they're mentally thinking through and they're running through those interactions, and they're running it through those what ifs. I had done this instead. What if I had taken that extra step? What if I'd asked that extra question to the customer? What if I had asked them this instead of telling them this? And that's where they start, okay, this is what I'm going to do next. And they can start practicing that in real time. And when they practice it in real time and they actually see the results, they close something, all right, great. Now they're being intentional with what they're doing instead of, okay, I think this might work. I don't know if this does work or if this doesn't. Now they're keeping track of what does work and what doesn't work. And that's what we want to get our people to. Because once they start doing that, you're going to see that they're going to do more of what works. They're going to focus in more on those items that are super important, and they're actually going to take ownership and they're going to step up. They're not just going to be sitting around twiddling their thumbs because they don't know what to do. No, they're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I got to make sure this happens so that we can get to this, so I can get to this. And they really start pushing on it and they really start stepping up. And then that's when you start asking yourself, wow, when did I have this individual? Where were they at when I needed them, right? They're doing great now. Why couldn't they be doing this? It's one, part of the leadership that you have in those areas. Two is the approach to training. And honestly, right now, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are my people actually having any kind of coaching training sessions right now? And you know the answer to that. Based on the results, you know what those conversations look like. You know that they honestly aren't. Okay? And that's what we want to get after. That's what we want to make sure they feel that one, they're being mentored, they're being guided. Somebody's actually investing time to get them to become better. Okay? So if you guys take anything away from this session, is spend time coaching. Doesn't have to be a long time. 15-minute coaching sessions go a very long way, especially when they're more timed or spread out, right? You're doing multiple times a week, especially for those people that are newer or they're struggling. Okay, it goes a very long way. Even for your people that are great, you still want to spend time coaching them and having those conversations with them because then they feel heard, right? Then there's going to be struggles that you're not seeing that they're noticing and they want to improve on, okay? Because they want to become better. So they're going to start asking better questions. They're going to start asking you more nuanced questions like, how do I do this? How can I get after this? Okay. And then they want to see that you're going to still be able to support, to assist them. And you're giving them the ability to actually build that within themselves. And that's one of the biggest things that you can do as a leader is help your people become self-sufficient. But they don't get there by themselves. They get there through mentorship, through guidance, training and development. Okay? So spend time coaching them. Develop your people. And you're going to see that they're going to surprise you far more in a better way than you thought possible. Guys, I want to say thank you for stepping into another episode here at Sales Manager Academy Podcast. Be sure to hit the description and grab those links to be able to get your free resources. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so that you can go ahead and get more like this. I want to interact with you. I want to know what you guys think and want to know your thoughts. What are you guys struggling with? And thanks again. And I'll catch you on the next one.